Hey everybody. I don't even know what this is. I wanted to do something. Um Recording this today prior on January 8th. But today, when you're seeing this, as of 3:19 a.m., I am 25 years old. My brain is fully formed. I am an old man. I'm an upset to how many people who watch that are way older. Um, no, but I mean, when you get to those mid 20s, you get to the point where, everybody that is older, like in their 30s and their 40s and numbers, they'll tell you, you're still young, you're still a kid, you're still a child, this and that. But then literally everyone younger than you, 24 to like 14, are calling you like old and disgusting as if it's not going to just happen to them very, very soon. So, you know. um, but it's interesting. I did want to do a live stream, and I just ended up not having time to do so. Um, Maybe I'll do it Friday night. I don't know. Um, but I've had a vast history on YouTube. You know, I've been making content since like 2014, maybe 2013. It used to be gaming content. I used to play Roblox a lot and I'd record it. I made these videos with my friends for years, and it really helped my creativity. You know, I was never, I was a decent, I always had decent grades in English, minus my, like, what was it called? Quotations, commas, and apostrophes, and I was terrible at that. Math was never my strong suit. I was never a genius. Science also was never my strong suit. Um, but yeah, I never, again, I don't know what this is supposed to be. I'm just talking. I'm rambling. This is all off the cuff. Um, but I guess what I'm saying, not that I have too much wisdom to impart, because I'm 25, and what do I know? Well, I will be when you're watching this. I am not as of recording this. I never knew what I wanted growing up. And to me personally, I don't feel like I ever had people really shaping me and helping me develop into who I should be. I respect immensely my family who took care of me, fed me, clothed me, put a roof over my head. But I also don't feel that I was given the guidance to figure things out exactly. In this, I didn't. My parents weren't Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World. You know, I didn't have that. I never had a super duper 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 close relationship with my family either. Um, then I started going to church when I was 13, and you found some moral guidance there and some stuff. But still, I don't know. Um, there's always this need for something, and for a long time I pursued that in relationships, and I don't just mean romantic, though that's also a part of it. I mean like friendships and otherwise. I always try to, you know, if I can be like 100% devoted to my friends and my girlfriends and this and that, there'll be some sort of contentment found in, that loyalty. But oftentimes that loyalty is betrayed, and I'm not going to get into that as personal stuff. But I suppose I say all that to say that I wasted a few years, I think. I mean, not a waste. I think I needed time to figure things out, but I I graduated high school. I didn't go to college. I immediately started working, and I never really had time to find myself. And I invested myself into other people. And, you know, But as of July 2025, I finally took up an acting class. And it's not like I've really done anything with it so far, as of now. But there's this sense of, I don't know, like I'd rather be homeless. I say that when I have a roof over my head. I would rather struggle. Let me adjust. I don't think anybody wants to be homeless. And that's not fair to the people who actually are homeless. But the struggle is worth it for that goal, to me. Instead of getting a high-paying job in some corporate office where I could make good money and be very, very comfortable, but I would be dead inside. Of course, there's, the political stuff and, maybe I've gotten more selfish in the years. I don't know. But I also understand that I can't change things. As one individual, I can't. As a collective, maybe. But until people are willing to actually have conversations again and discuss things and make compromise, there's never going to be any fixing of anything. There's only going to be division, 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 division. So long as everyone goes, you're the villain, with no nuance in between, then I'm not in the fight, kind of like Ricky Gervais said at the Oscars a few years back, like when you pick up your Oscar, like, thank your family, thank your God, shut up and get out. Like, why are you preaching? Like, you're here to entertain people for a living, And I feel such fulfillment, especially when successfully, even if it's just for class, I do something and I feel very proud of it. And it's, I guess it's very selfish to want to be an actor. And I didn't ever really care about fame or money or anything. I just wanted to love something that I do. And I find myself really loving it. And so I feel the call to pursue it, even if it leads to nowhere. Because at least in the failure, I'd be pursuing something that makes me feel full. And as I'm at 25, loop this all around. I joke quarter life crisis, but most men, I should say, 70 is kind of the spot. If you make it past 70 as a man, you are the outlier. You are not the norm. That may be slowly changing over time as the years pass and we get better with healthcare and medicine and yada, yada, yada. But still, even as of now, the large basis is around 70. And that's not to say whether or not I get hit by a car tomorrow. Like, there's just no way of knowing that this is a quarter of my life or over half of my life or this or that. Like, this might be 75% of it. We just don't know. And while I may believe beyond a reasonable doubt what comes after, I still can't help but want to pursue what gives me, some fulfillment in the time that I have. And that's not to say it gives me ultimate fulfillment. I would say that would be blasphemous in my case. You don't have to agree with me on that front. The thing that must give ultimate purpose, because everything else is striving after wind, in my opinion, is God. But, for a long time, people always said that, or at least in my circles of, put your identity in Christ. But I understand that, but what's the rest of me? What's my day to day apart from that? Like, what do I do? And there was never a clear answer to that. So, all that to say, the advice part, if you're younger, and you don't know what you want to do, like with your life as a whole, you still have time. You still have time. You have time to figure it out. And even if you're my age, you have time to figure it out. If you're older than me, listen, as long as you're not like 70 or 60, because to be honest, at that point, like you pull like a big innovation or invention, and yeah, you'll be, that's, you found it. Typically around 60 or 70, you should have things locked down, I'd imagine. Maybe I will disagree when I'm 60 or 70, you know, but 20, 30, maybe even early 40s, there's still time to switch things, to change course. I mean, and that also, of course, it depends on the circumstance. People who are married and have children, that's a lot harder to say than someone who is single with no children, like I am. That's a lot easier to manage. You know, so I'm not saying it's completely easy, but if you have something you want to pursue, so long as it doesn't hurt others in the process, then you should do everything in your power to pursue it. You only have this one life. You have to do, not make the most of it. You know, like Before Sunset, um, with Ethan Hawke. There's a scene where him and this girl are talking, Celine. They're walking down this like street or this area. And he's talks about like, what's important to you, what matters. Like every moment's your last. Make it matter. Pursue that stuff. And I mentioned all the politics and stuff before because that's big, huge stuff, and that stuff matters, and that stuff's important. But at the same time, I'm not going to argue somebody into changing. Like just not what I can do. What I can do, without shoving it in your face, is through art, through emotions, through performances. Maybe get you to have a change of perspective, and whatever side of the aisle you land on. I'm here to entertain. Movies have always been an escape. Film, TV has always been an escape. I love stories. And not just an escape. An escape is fun, but also things that reflect back on us. Make us reflect on who we are individually, who we are as a collective, and how to treat one another, and how to better change the world. And you do that through emotion, ultimately. You can have every argument under the sun, but you will never argue someone into a different course of belief. Most people are not on a truth quest, they're on a happiness quest. Some genuinely want to know the truth and follow that wherever it goes, and you can argue them into a different perspective. But the vast majority of people, they have their own thoughts, they have their own opinions, and they're not going to willingly change, unless they have their hearts changed. And not that I'm here to propagandize everyone. Like, I'm just saying, politics, as Obi-Wan Kenobi says in Revenge of the Sith, I'm not brave enough for politics. I'm a simple man who does not have a lot of skills. But the one potential I might have is that. And I want to pursue it to the fullest. So that perhaps, one day, I can just be a bunch of other people for a living. And maybe get an emotion out of you. Whether that be, anger, joy, sadness, whatever. I don't have to be the star of the show. I'll never be Al Pacino. But being in someone else's spotlight and getting a little bit of that shine back on me would be sufficient. But I appreciate you all. Appreciate everyone who's subscribed for the various things, Star Wars and fantasy and everything else. You guys don't have to sit here and watch me babble and talk, and I'm not as flashy as other people, or I'm not a very entertaining person. I'm quite boring, actually. Believe it or not, maybe that's why I'm being an actor, where I can pretend to be other people that are vastly more interesting. But 25 years on this earth. Most of that, kind of a blur. Who knows what 25 years will bring? The next 25 years, I'll be 50. So, but also, again, back in July, I started going to the acting class, and I think I've made a lot of improvement. So, what can happen in the next 25 years? I guess only time will tell. But sometimes it's not easy to live in this world. Sometimes you wonder, why did I have to exist? But there's also so much worth living for. And sometimes it's hard to remember that. But I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm able to pursue what I love, what I like. And I hope you all do too. And I hope you have a fantastic new year. And hope you'll stick around for more content on my channel and anything else. Anyway, I gotta get going. But keep being awesome, every one of you. You all matter. You're all loved. And if no one, tells you that, or you don't feel that, well, maybe I don't know you personally, but I can care if no one else will. So, anyway, stay safe. And as one of my favorite franchises besides Star Wars says, live long and prosper. Bye-bye.